So welcome to class, and our theme today is to continue looking at the balances that we must juggle and the coming and the going, the in and the out, the birthing and deathing. And so exploring this whole concept of the yin and the yang. And I'll just do a screen share here real quick. I think most of us are familiar with this symbol. And the two sides and how they form the circle. We have on the darker side, the negative space is the yin, and on the other side, the positive space is the yang. And within each of these sides is a circle of the opposite color, which is said to be the seed of its opposite polarity. So this is the Chinese concept that it talks about how the universe is regulated by these polarities. And those polarities, of course, they're in opposition to one another, and they also have an interdependence, and they are mutually consumptive. So we use energy, yang, to digest our food, right? And store fat, which is yin. And they become each other. They're inner transformative. So some of the qualities, the yin qualities, are night, intuition, quiet, water, the moon, contemplative, downward reaching, the front body, allowing, earth, winter, cold, soft, bending, mutable, and we talk of yin as being the container. And some of the qualities of yang are day, the sun, the summer, direct, logical, fire, hardness, backbending, rigid, upward seeking, dominant, controlling, expansive, and the contents of the container. So it's interesting to me, they do complement one another, and in our practice, we get a chance to really play with that and really embody that. So most yoga practice in the West is quite yang. It's very linear. A lot of practices are very strong and oriented towards standing postures and sun salutations. If you think of Ashtanga practice, if you've ever practiced that style, lots of sun salutations and chaturangas to downward dog to standing postures, and it's a very yang practice. And what we're doing today is not necessarily a yin practice, because that is a very specialized practice with very specialized poses and shapes. But we will allow and will hopefully have some awareness of how we can bring yin into our practices so we have this balance. Those of you that practice with me a lot, I start on the floor and we do a lot of very subtle movement on the floor, which is more flowing and more yin-like. So I like that way to start the practice. Maybe there's the container metaphor, and then we'll go to some more yang poses and shapes, and then back to the more yin. My invitation for you today is to honor what you need. So if you need a little bit more of that surrendering, softer, mutable energy, then do that for yourself. And if you need a little bit more of that summer, excited and stronger energy, you can hold a pose longer. I'll give you some options of holding or moving. And uh, really then also trying to maybe identify the yin within the yang or the yang within the yin, right? So just set everything up here, make sure everybody's muted. And let's start on our backs. So you can go to your mat on your back. I'm going to shift my view a little bit and just begin with the ultimate yin energy would be coming to your back and just surrendering to the earth. So let your body stretch out on the floor and feel the support of the earth. Arms to the side. And you can have a sense of your breath being like the flowing river. So allowing more for a very subtle flow as you let go and let the earth support you. If this is at all uncomfortable, you can take the soles of your feet to the floor and let your knees rest together. So we're always recognizing we're in a different place every day. Different activities have preceded our practice. And now just 5 rounds of breath. And if you don't have your knees bent, go ahead and take the soles of your feet to the floor, bend your knees, and take your feet as wide as your space or your mat. Arms can be out to the side, and just let your knees move back and forth, one side to the other, slowly coming into a rhythm that feels nice for you and skillful. Inhaling to bring the knees up to center and exhaling to drop the knees to the opposite side. And then we'll add some arm movement to this. So the next time your knees fall to the left, reach the right arm up and stretch through your whole side body. And then inhale, slowly bring the knees up to center, slide your right arm back, drop your knees to the left, to the right rather, and reach your left arm up and stretch. So it's a little slower pattern. As you drop your knees to one side, opposite arm reaches up. You peel that hip off the floor. So you have a back bend in place. This is sort of a half back bend. And then inhale back to center, exhale to the other side, reaching opposite arm up and away. Just feeling into your spine, your pelvis, your shoulders. This should be a nice opening through your side body. So just continue that pattern a few more times. Coming back to center now, stack your knees over your hips and just draw your low back into the floor. Squeeze an imaginary block or a real one. If you have your block handy and you'd like to place that between your upper inner thighs, that gives you the yang energy here. So that sense of strength, right? Of doing. So squeezing the block, pressing your feet into an imaginary wall, and then feel your abdominals contracting here. Take a few breaths. And then interlace your hands behind your head. Press your elbows into the floor and open through the collarbones, through the heart space. That's going to be the inhale. And on the exhale, keep squeezing the block and just draw your elbows together. Press your low back into the floor. Inhale, open through the heart space. You get a teeny arch in your back, and exhale, squeeze the block, draw your low back into the floor, and just bring your elbows towards one another. That's it. Just continue that pattern. Feel how much of each energy is required here. So definitely more of a yang energy here. But can you find the softness? Maybe the softness is in your face. The mutability. On the next exhale, now leave the arms wide and draw your chest and head up, relaxing your head in your hands, squeezing your low back into the floor, abdominals in, and then inhale, come back down to the floor, and exhale, lift your head and shoulders. Draw the navel up and in. Inhale to release, and exhale, come up and squeeze. Contract everything at the abdominals. Inhale, release. Let's do 6 more. And release. Take your feet back to the floor. Just slightly press into your feet. Lift your hips. And if you have a block here, you could set the block right underneath your sacrum. You don't have to do it with a block. You could just have your sacrum resting on the floor. But now stretch out both legs long and feel an opening in the front of your hip flexor. If this feels too much on the low back, you could remove the block and just come to an very open, long body, just resting on the floor. And then you can take the soles of your feet back to the floor and press up if you have a block. Remove the block over to the side, but keep the knees bent, soles of the feet on the floor. And now as you press into your feet, lift your hips and draw your arms behind you, the backs of your hands touching the floor behind you. And on your exhale, slowly lower everything back down. And a couple rounds here. Just feeling into your spine this morning. How you're articulating through each vertebra. A couple more just like that. And then we'll all meet back on the floor, hips on the floor, hands on the floor. Now as you press into your feet, just lift the right arm back behind you, turn your gaze to the left. And then as you come down, you'll sweep your right arm back to the side like you're making a snow angel. Bring your head back to center and lower your hips. And then as you inhale, press into your feet, sweep the left arm back, turn your gaze to the right. And then as you come back, hips down, you'll sweep your left arm like you're making a snow angel. Hips come down, head back to center. That's the little pattern. Pressing into your feet, sweep your right arm back, turn your gaze to the left, and then sweep your right arm back to your side like you're making a snow angel, head back to center, hips down. Press into your feet, left arm goes back behind you, turn to the right with your head, and then sweeping the arm back to the side through on the floor, head back to center, hips back. Let's do a couple of more just like that. So opposite arm, head turns in the opposite direction of the arm, and then sweep that arm back, lower hips, turn head back to center. Okay, a few on your own. And we'll meet in the position of comfort, soles of the feet on the floor. Okay, so same thing, but now here, let's bring our toes up. So press into your heels, press your heels into the floor, and isometrically draw your heels back towards your sit bones. Find a neutral spine. So for most of us, that's a little bit of forward tilt in the pelvis. And then pressing into our heels, we'll lift the hips. Keep scooping the heels back towards your shoulders and feel your hamstrings engaging. So a little more yang energy here. So the arms could come beside you, fingertips pointing up towards the ceiling. Keep scooping the heels back towards your shoulders, lifting through the hips. All right, and then slowly you could take the arms out to the side as you release down all the way through, one vertebra at a time, and then feet back to the floor. We'll try that one more time. And so pick up your toes, press your heels into the floor, and isometrically pull them back towards your sit bones. Right now, just take your hand and feel the back of your leg. You should feel your hamstring engaged. Good. Tiny forward tilt in the pelvis as you press into your hips and lift. Lifting the hips, scooping the heels back, but drawing the knees away. Now you could take and roll one shoulder blade under and the other. Interlace your hands underneath your sacrum and press your pinky fingers into the floor as you lift your hips. Strong work here. But we have an opening through the heart space. So is there some yin here within this yang posture? Great. Now you could continue to hold this very strong posture, or you could say, Rebecca, this morning I need this as my heart opening bridge pose. So you take a block right underneath your sacrum and you make this more of a yin energetic posture. All right, so wherever you are, 3 more rounds of breath. And then if you've got the block underneath your sacrum, press into your feet, remove the block, Set it over to the side, coming out of your strong bridge, one vertebra at a time, and then taking the legs long once more. Let your feet fall out to the sides. Let your hands come out to the sides in the Shavasana shape, and take one full breath cycle. Great, and now we'll stack our knees over hips again with feet pretty wide, legs pretty wide apart, and allow your knees to drop to one side. Allow your that opposite hand to come over and touch, so you're all connected on one side. And then take the top arm and sweep it across your chest, opening into a twist, right? And then you'll inhale the top leg up, bottom leg follows. You bring your knees to the opposite side. Arm comes over, hands meet. Slide your hand along your arm and across your chest, opening into the twist. And then inhale, top leg up, both legs up, both knees together, dropping to the opposite side. Hands come together. Slide your hand across your chest, opening into the twist. Inhale, top leg, other leg, and then same pattern. We'll go a couple more times. Go at your own pace as you open into the twist. And you can decide if you'd like to hang out in the twist. You could hang out in the twist. If you want to keep the vinyasa moving, you keep the vinyasa moving. Go at a speed that feels skillful and supportive. We practice in the bodies we have, not the ones that we used to have or want to have or somebody else has. We practice meeting our own needs. And then take one more on each side, and we'll come back to that position of comfort. So soles of the feet on the floor. Right, and knees bent. Good. And then from here, just cross your ankles, take your hands behind your legs. You can rock up. If that doesn't work for you, you can drop your knees to one side, press up with your top hand. And then from here, we'll take ourselves to hands and knees. So placing your hands underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips, just go ahead and begin to move through some cat-cow movements. So on the inhale, you draw your chest forward, elongate through your tail, and on your exhale, round through your back, tuck your tail, tuck your chin. Now, even this movement, right, we'll just explore here a little bit. So this is a very linear movement, so it has a lot of yang energy. So what if you were to make this more of a circular pattern? Inhaling and opening through one side body, and exhaling and opening or reaching through the other side body. So as you do your cat-cow movement, at the same time, you're circling through your body and reaching your side body out over the side of your mat, long side of your mat. Just play with that and see if that feels a little different. And go in both directions. And we'll meet back at the center. Good. And then from here, take your forearms to the floor, interlace your forearms and bring your toes under and press your hips up. Great. Now you can walk your feet up towards your shoulders or your elbows slightly and press into your forearms and broaden through your back. Engage through the legs so kneecaps draw up and feel the strong yang energy here in this dolphin pose. So what I'd invite here is for you to feel some fire burning, okay? And if it's not enough to be here, you could take your feet back and come to forearm plank. But feel for some fire burning, some real energy being churned up, because that's the yang energy. And then what we're going to do is drop our knees, come into the child's pose, and see if we can move that energy throughout our body. Okay? Let the energy spread, so it's not just concentrated in one place. And then inhale back up to all fours. Turn your toes under, press your hips up and back into the downward facing dog. Good. Now here, draw your kneecaps up. Engage in the legs, bend your elbows slightly. And once again, feel the yang energy, the strong energy building, this fire building. And we'll do the same thing. We'll build the energy, we'll feel that energy, that fire building, and then we'll drop to our knees, child's pose, and let it move throughout our body. Inhale, come back to all fours. Turn the toes under, press your hips back into the downward facing dog. Rock forward, come into the high plank, pressing the floor away and really broadening through your upper back. Now, you could be here, or you could be in the downward facing dog, or you could be back in the forearm plank. But again, the idea is one of these strong yang postures. We want to feel the energy building. Press the floor away with your hands strongly. Lots of energy required here, right? Lots of active, strong energy. So we feel that fire building and building and building, and then we drop to our knees, come back to the child's pose, and let the energy dissipate all through the body. Let it move all through our body. Inhale to come back up to all fours. You choose now. You could go to forearm plank, to dolphin, just to downward facing dog, to downward dog with a little bend in the elbows, or forward into the high dandasana. And really allow some fire to build in your body. Build the fire. Feel the effort that's needed here. And where can you find some balance of yin? Maybe in the face, relaxing the facial muscles. And then come to your knees. Drop back into the child's pose and feel all that energy move throughout the body. On your next inhale, sweep your arms up, come up onto your knees. And on your exhale, tuck your hands behind your sacrum and bow down towards the mat. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, opposite hand on top as you tuck your hands to your sacrum and bring your forehead to the mat. Inhale, sweep the arms up. And exhale, first position with the hands. Come down to the mat, bowing, coming into a child's pose shape with the hands at the sacrum. Inhale, sweep up. And exhale, opposite hand on top and bow. We'll do that one more time, two more times, one more time with each hand on the top as you stack your hands on your sacrum. And then from this position, this child's pose shape, simply slide your hands forward and come down onto your belly. Making a little pillow with your hands. You can rest your forehead on your hands. Reach through both legs. Spiral the inner leg towards the ceiling. Press into the tops of your feet. And inhale, just lift. Head and shoulders only. Exhale, lower. And just repeat that pattern. Just a baby back bend. Building some energy, but keeping the softness in the face. And then you can bring your arms alongside your body. Turn your head to one direction. Soften your buttocks, soften your hips, and just gently rock the hips back and forth. Turn your head in the opposite direction. And then coming back to center. Now you'll take your arms parallel to one another, elbows underneath the shoulders in Sphinx. Now you could leave the arms parallel to one another, and if at some point you need to bring the arms together, you could do that as well. So we're going to play a little bit with some more the strength it takes to lift ourselves, okay? So on your next inhale, feel for drawing your heart forward and really opening through the heart space. And then on your exhale, engage your navel up and in. Pick your pubic bone off the floor. Pick your thighs off the floor. Inhale here. And exhale, lower everything slowly back down. So inhaling to spread through the heart space, through the collarbones. Exhale, roll yourself so the belly button goes back. You pick the pubic bone up, you pick the thighs up. And then you inhale here, and then you lower everything back down. Again, you could keep the arms parallel to one another, or you could interlace the hands. That's a little bit more supportive as you inhale, exhale yourself up. Inhale, and then exhale, lower everything down. Let's go about two more here, two more rounds. Really feel the arms pressing into the floor, the shoulder blades firmly on the back, core engaged as you lift. Exhale, lower back down, okay? Now this time, we'll inhale, exhale, lift everything, hold it there, turn your toes under, lift into forearm plank. Very strong yang energy. Notice when this energy is asked of you, what is your response? Knees down, thighs down, pubic bone to the floor, belly to the floor, everything to the floor. Turn your head in one direction and let your hips move softly back and forth. Might help to bend the knees here. All right, and let the feet move back and forth and turn your head to the other side. Just welcoming the support of the earth. Come back to center. Take your hands underneath your shoulders and press just into a baby cobra. Then all fours. Take a full breath here in this table position, and then take your hips back, engaging at the core to bring your hips back to child's pose. Inhale to come back up to the table position, turn the toes under, and press your hips up and back into downward facing dog. And then on your next inhale, walk your feet up towards your hands. Deep bend in the knees with your body draped over your legs. Inhale, hands to the shins, reach the crown long, and exhale, fold. Pressing into your feet, take your hands to your hips, elbows in tight towards one another, and hinge up at the waist. Good. And now we're in the standing sequence. So we'll take our feet really wide here, and then the arms out. So the arms, the wrists sort of line up over the ankles. Good. Now turn your right foot out, and then come up onto the toes of your back foot. Lift your heel and slightly turn your heel out. And then bend into the front leg. Reach your arms out. Okay, so super yang posture, the warrior poses. So you could stay here, stay with this energy, yang energy, or you could flow a little bit more, deciding how long you want to stay. And just exploring, maybe what's your preference? Do you feel any shoulds around any of this? We'll meet in the strong warrior two position. Good. So everybody bend your back knee and really anchor that back heel, and then re-straighten that leg. Draw your hands away from one another. If you've got the fingers pointing up towards the ceiling, reach the fingers long and press into an imaginary wall. Then turn the palms up to receive the posture. Receive the posture. Good. Then sweeping the front arm forward. Reach up, reach back, down the back leg with the other arm, and come into exalted warrior. And sweep the front arm back, coming back into warrior two. Now straighten the front leg. Feel that relief. Reach the side ribs forward, and wherever you are, you hinge down. Front hand comes to the top of the shin, to the top of the thigh, back hand on the waist. Draw your sit bones, your front leg, draw that sit bone in and under. Really externally rotating the front leg. And then you could take the top arm up, or you could keep it on your waist, exploring how much yin and yang is needed here to be in this posture. Bring the bottom arm out, engaging the core. Good. And then we'll bend the front leg, coming back through warrior two. Straighten, bring hands together, turn both feet to face the short edge of your mat, and then turning the left foot out, coming into the other side. So once again, you could start with just the legs. You could work with your legs, or you can open the arms, vinyasa, or hold, or hold. See what serves you best. See what is the most supportive to you this morning. And go back and forth between the two. We'll meet in the strong warrior. So everybody bend the back leg and really tack the back heel down, then re-straighten that leg. Reaching arms long, draw shoulder blades onto your back. Press down into the imaginary wall, and then flip the palms up to receive the posture. Maybe you want to explore how much yang you need this morning by deepening into the front leg. Well, maybe that's too much. That doesn't feel good. And then reaching forward with the front hand. Sweep up and back. Back hand goes down the back leg. And you're in the exalted warrior. Holding the poses is very yang. At least these strong poses, right? If we were on the ground holding, really opening yin postures, that would feel very different. Sweeping back through the warrior two. Now straighten the front leg. Notice your response to maybe some relief out of that hard posture to hold, and then hinge into your expression of triangle. Top arm could stack. Bottom arm could come out. Strong work. We'll bend through the front leg and come back up. Both feet facing each other, parallel to each other, and parallel to the short edge of your mat. Good. Now hands on your hips. Reach the crown long. So don't forget the space between your eyes and the top of your head. Let that stretch up towards the sky as you fold forward. Hands to the floor or to a block. You could have your hands on a block if your head made it to the block, forehead to the block. And keep the weight in the front, the front of your feet, the metatarsal arch, the ball of your feet, then into the heels. Good. And then from here, we'll just take the feet, heel toe the feet together until you're in a deep bend. Really establish that the bend in your legs so you can have your body just draped over your feet, over your legs. Okay, and then feet about hip distance apart as you now keep the hips moving back, knees bent, arms forward. Okay, so super yang. We even call this fierce pose, right? So now we're in the Utkatasana. And arms could be straight out in front. Arms could be alongside the ears. If it's what you need today, bring hands to hips. But the arms out in front really allow you to counterbalance the hips back. Deep bend. Good. Your release will be a forward fold. And we're going to go through a few of these. So here we go. We'll drop the hips back as we bend the knees. Bring the arms forward. Maybe you could sit a little deeper. Wrapping the outer legs. Wrapping the hips back. And you're going to hold, or you're going to say, nope, 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 and you're going to fold. But whenever you're ready, come out and release into the forward fold. Drop your hips back, bend your knees. Maybe you want to play with rocking your weight onto one foot, lifting the other one. So this practice as much as anything is a listening practice. What do you need? Interlace hands behind your back as you come into the fold, and let your arms move off your back with gravity. We'll go one more. As you drop your hips, bend your knees, sweep your arms forward. And this time you're going to press up. Bring the arms up overhead. Careful there, you might get a little dizzy. And then let your hands come to heart center. Release your hands to your sides in Tadasana. So built a lot of heat there. So feel the heat moving through your body, supplying every little corner, and maybe out the fingertips as well. Good, and then from here, just a slight bend in the knees, weight into the right foot. And take your weight, take your left foot up, step it back, and come into warrior one. Inhale the arms up, palms together. Exhale, draw the navel up and in. Draw the tailbone into the body more, down towards the floor. Good. And then on the inhale, we're going to open the arms up, open the heart space up. And on the exhale, we'll straighten the front leg and bring the hands together. So the inhale, we bend the front leg, open through the shoulders, open through the collarbones. And on the exhale, we'll straighten the front leg, bring the hands together. A few more times. And we'll meet with the front leg bent, the arms open. Great. And then from here, friends, we're going to lean the body forward and gradually get the weight forward on the right foot as we drag the left foot up and just bring ourselves into some version of a warrior three. So that could be the back foot on the floor, slightly lifted, all the way lifted, hands on hips, hands forward. And then we'll step the back foot back, coming back into that expression of warrior one. And then hands to hips as you lean forward again, step your weight into your front foot. Both feet together. Just take a few circles with your hips in both directions. And then slightly bend the knees as you take your weight into the opposite foot. Lift the other foot up, and you drive your hips back as you step that foot back into warrior one, opposite side. Inhale the arms up, hands facing one another or touching. Read into your body, listen to your body. Good. This time on the inhale, we're going to open the chest up and bring the thumbs back in like we're hitchhiking. Great. And then we're going to exhale, draw the hands together and bend forward slightly. Inhale and exhale. Inhale And exhale. We'll meet with the arms open. Good. And then from here, just start to slightly bend forward, and you'll feel your weight come into your left foot, and you're just going to have to sort of take a couple steps to bring the right foot up. Good. And right here, this might be your variation, right? You might lift the back leg as you straighten the front leg, and lift the back leg off the ground any amount, hands to hips, heart center or forward, checking in with what it takes to do these big balancing postures. Every day is different. Bend through your standing leg and touch back. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, lean forward, step forward, both feet together. You can separate your feet here a bit and move through your hips. Good. And then taking that stance as wide as your hips. Take your hands to heart center and bend your knees as you drop through center and come into a squat. So this squat, hands will be in front. So you're holding you've got your arms around your knees, and you're holding the squat here. And then from here, release the arms out front, counterbalance, as you drop back onto your hips. Lift the legs, take your hands behind your legs or out to the side, and hold this hip balance. Now find the spot that serves you today. What do you need today? Different every day. Always going for that balance. Maybe you need this. Maybe you need to straighten the legs, get a little more fierceness. Maybe you need this. Maybe you need this. This is fine. This is all good. And then we'll slowly, let's have everybody bring your hands down behind your legs and slowly lower back down to the floor. We'll take that same position of either just stretched out long or block underneath sacrum with legs long. Oh, should feel nice after the work in the legs. Arms out to the side, tuck shoulder blades under and feel this opening through your chest. And then we'll set the feet back to the floor and pick up your hips. If you've got the block underneath, set the block to the side and come into this position of comfort again. Okay, and here now, take your right ankle over your left knee. Then we'll bring the hips, the knees up towards the chest. And then set the foot back down, left foot back down, and then drop the knees to the right. And then we'll inhale, back up to center, bring the knees in towards the chest. And then drop the left foot to the floor and drop the knees to the right. And that's a little movement pattern. Hang out anywhere you want. Let it be spontaneous. Where would spontaneous go? More yin or more yang? So if it feels nice to hold the knees in close, you can string your right hand through the space and take the left shin or the back of the left thigh and hold this deep opening on the right hip flexor posture. Wherever you are, let's all meet here, holding the figure four. You could have your hands don't have to necessarily be through the space. And then everybody bring your hands to the outside of your body, beside your body, and then drop your right foot down to the floor and scoot your left foot out of the way and feel an opening along the right outer hip, right thigh. Reach the right arm up, all the length through the inner arm, the armpit, the right armpit, the right side body, through the right leg. You might even be able to walk your right foot up back a little bit towards your hip. And then unwind this. Come to having your soles of your feet on the floor. Just a few pelvic tilts to neutralize the pelvis here. Forward and backward. We do this a lot. We want to come back to symmetry when we've been in asymmetry. And now left ankle on right knee. You'll draw the knees in. And then you'll take the knees over to the left. And then draw the knees back in toward your chest. And then drop your right foot and drop your knees over to the left. And that's the little pattern. Of course, you can hang out anywhere you want. You could string the left hand through the space and take from the right shin. Let the hips relax down to the floor. Feel the opening in the outer left hip. This is where we'll all meet. And then hands free, right foot comes to the floor first. Then you just drop over to the right, let the left foot come to the floor and scooch the right leg out of the way. You kind of have to work it over towards the opposite side of the mat. And then, just let the left leg just sort of drape down towards the floor. Left hip draping down towards the floor. Good, reach the left arm long now and feel the openings through the left side body again. Armpit through rib spaces, left thigh, left outer thigh. And then unwind here. Soles of the feet to the floor. Take a couple of pelvic tilts to neutralize your spine. Inhaling, drawing pubic bone away from navel. Exhale, draw pubic bone back towards navel. Good, and then from here, anything else you need. So that's I think more of a yin invitation to just let your intuition allow you to go where you need. And then we'll all stretch out eventually into probably the most surrendering posture there is, to Shavasana. So feet wide. Press into the back of your head and slide your shoulder blades under. Feel an opening through the heart space, palms up if possible, to receive this posture. To receive the efforts of your work. The fire. And then the letting that fire go. that energy out everywhere through your body, out to the people you prayed for this morning, the places you prayed for. Allow the skin on your face to simply drop towards the floor. If you have any holding here, let that holding go. Leave the familiar for a while. Let your senses and body stretch out like a welcomed season onto the meadows and shores and hills. Open up to the roof. Make a new watermark on your excitement and love. Like a blooming night flower, bestow your vital fragrance of happiness and giving upon our intimate assembly. Change rooms in your mind for a day. All the hemispheres in existence lie beside an equator in your heart. Greet yourself in your thousand other forms. Greet yourself in your thousand other forms as you mount the hidden tides and travel back home. All the temple within are sitting, all the temples within are sitting around chatting while stretching themselves together into the great circle inside of you. You can stay as long as you like in your Shavasana, or you can return to your seat. Bringing your hands together in a gesture of prayer that works for you. Thank you so much for being here today and bringing both these strong, direct, summer, hot, yang energy and your receptive, mutable, flowing night, moon, yin energy, and the balance that we bring to the world when we are balanced ourselves. Namaste.